So something I really liked about doing the bucket shots on this channel was that I got to tell the story behind some of my favorite photos. And I think that's one of the cool things about this YouTube channel is I get to tell the stories of my life, but I get to tell stories behind photos that I've taken. Because I feel like every photo has a story. And some of that story is not necessarily prevalent when you look directly at the image. Sometimes you have no idea the backstory or everything that happened behind the scenes to get some of those photos. And so I've kind of been inspired by my own series to create a new series, which is this one. I'm going to be calling it The Archives. It's the best name I could come up with at the moment. So if you have a new or better name, chuck it in the comments down below. Love to hear it. But the whole point of this series is to go behind the scenes on some of the photos that I've taken over the years, because I have taken thousands and thousands of photos. And like I said at the start of this, there are some stories behind those photos that I think are really interesting, but I would also just love to share with you all, because I believe that just as much as videos can tell an incredible story, there's also great stories behind photos as well. So that's the, I guess, the heart behind this series, The Archives. We're going to be jumping in today, episode 1, and we are going to Malawi. Malawi will always have a very special place in my heart. I've been there twice on mission trips, and every time I've been, it has just been an incredible experience. The people there are just so generous, so loving, and they just have this incredible joy that you will not find anywhere else on the planet. There is no one else in the world with the same amount of joy as these people. So Malawi is already a beautifully rich country in its people, but the landscape of Malawi is also beautifully rich as well. And there was one day I remember that we were driving to a safari, and we have to drive from Lilongwe in Malawi all the way down south to the Mvu Safari. I think it was south, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, it's a really long journey. I think it's something like 6 to 8 hours on the road. So it's a long time in like a bus, kind of like a cram bus. So not a huge, nice, luxurious camper van or a nice bus. It's a really small transport kind of van scenario. And we would drive all the way down through the landscape of Malawi, and it is just incredible to witness how that landscape looks. It is so different to anything that I've seen before. It is just super flat land and then mountains out of nowhere. And that, for a photographer is an absolute dream, because there are so many opportunities to take some stunning photos of mountains. But I had a problem. I was on this trip to document the trip, that's why I was there, but I did not get any say over how and where or what we were doing. I was purely just there to capture and observe. And that's a little bit hard for me in that scenario, because I'm seeing all these beautiful spots to stop and take photos, and I'm stuck on this bus, this smelly, hot bus. And so I'm watching all these beautiful shots whiz by my head, and I'm thinking, well, that sucks. I'm not really gonna be able to take a photo of any of this. But I remembered back to 2 years earlier when I was on this trip. Like I said, I've been on this trip twice. And I was somehow able to capture this photo, just out of the window, randomly. And so as we were driving to the safari, I was holding onto that glimmer of hope that maybe I would find the perfect mountain that I'd quickly be able to point my camera at and take a photo of. And right as I had given up on taking a photo of one of these mountains, the perfect moment arose. This mountain right in front of me, out the left side of the window, just was there. And I was like, all right, here's my chance. Chucked on the 24-70 because I didn't know what I was dealing with yet. Waited for the perfect moment between the trees, rolled down the window of the van. That's an important step. You don't want to be shooting through a window. And I snapped up this photo. And before I could take in any more of the scenery or start filming the mountain, it was over. That was it. And I was incredibly stoked that I was able to capture this small glimpse of this mountain that is now frozen in time forever within my catalogue of images. And to be honest, I took so many photos on this trip that are worthy of one of these videos, that have a deep and rich story behind them. But I chose this one today because I wanted to highlight to you that sometimes photography is messy. Sometimes we can't plan the photos that we want. Like the bucket shot series before, there were so many of my photos that were just unplanned, that just happened. And I love that about photography. I love being meticulous about photos, framing them up and making them look beautiful. But sometimes photography is reactive and things just happen. And this photo encapsulates that beautifully. It's a reaction. It wasn't a planned photo. And yet it's one of my favorites from the trip. I hope you enjoyed getting a deeper look behind a photo that I took overseas in Malawi. I can't wait to do more of these to kind of give a bit more of a perspective and to tell the story behind some of the photos that I've taken. Because I think it is such a beautiful thing to be able to tell stories, but to also be able to tell the stories behind photos, because there is actually a deeper story behind them than we might originally think. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you all next Sunday.